Welcome back to Reading Bear. Today, we will take a look at some new I Don't Work Here Lady stories. And if you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comments. Let's go!
The first one is titled, Me, I Don't Work Here, Tour Manager, Yes You Do. You're now backstage security for Yellowcard. About 6 years ago on a Saturday night, I was hitting up a concert with some friends. Now this venue had two parts. The main part was a restaurant per bar with a big outdoor venue that could fit about 1,500 people, and across the street was the second venue that could fit about 1,000. I got confused as to which venue I was heading to, accidentally parked at the main venue, saw my mistake, and walked across the street to the intended venue. Now I had work late that day and couldn't go home and change, so I was wearing a black polo shirt and black pants. After my concert ends, I walk back across the street to the main venue where I had parked. I try to take a shortcut around the building, only to find myself blocked by temp fences and barricades. I look to my left and see a couple of tour buses, I towards those, and manage to walk in between them. I find myself in a loading, staging area with some hospitality tents and people walking around, while I'm hearing a band playing really close by. I grab a snack and a drink, and ask a guy how to leave, and he points to the right. The only way to the right is this long ramp that leads around the building. So I walk up and follow it around the building, literally to the side of the stage where the band Yellowcard was playing live. I'm talking 10 feet away from me, tops. As I walk up, somewhat confused as to the scene in front of me, this woman with a clipboard and a headset walks up, and asks me where my lanyard was. I kinda shrug and say I don't have one. She gets pissed off and says don't move. She's back in 5 seconds with a lanyard with an all-access pass and tells me to put it on. I try telling her I don't think I'm supposed to be here, but she snaps and tells me to shut it. She says to stay right there to guard the ramp to make sure no one accidentally tries to come that way, literally what I had just done, and walks away. So I spend the next 30 minutes on the side of their stage while they finish their set. After their encore, I head back to the hospitality area, grab some food, have a few drinks, mingle with some folks. After a while I see headset lady walking around, so I walk up to her, hand her the lanyard, thank her for the drinks and the show, and leave. The next one is titled, Never Wear Scrubs to an This happened a few years ago when my late father's health was poor, and one day I left work early to meet my mum at the emergency room USA with my dad when he needed to be admitted. It's worth noting that I am a veterinary technician, which is basically an animal nurse, and I wear scrubs as my work uniform. I realized my grave mistake when I strode purposefully through the side entrance into the crowded waiting room, and was immediately mobbed by a crowd of people who were demanding to be seen, complaining about their wait time, or more disturbingly needed immediate medical attention but were left to wait. Apparently they leave people sitting there bleeding in the waiting room. WTF? Before I could even get out the sentence that I wasn't a nurse, one particularly pushy woman shoved an elderly woman in a wheelchair, her mum I guess, at me and said she needed help using the bathroom and she wasn't going to do my job for me, and just walked off. Apparently we were standing by the bathroom, because another woman walked out of it and handed me her urine sample. I told her I wasn't a nurse but she didn't seem to hear me. The poor woman in the wheelchair did, and she started laughing. She apologized, but she was very sweet and seemed really frail and weak, so I offered to help her anyway. I helped with my elderly father a lot, so I knew the drill. She basically just needed assistance getting in and out of the chair without falling. Eventually I made my way to the desk and found an actual nurse to hand off my patient to and the cup of urine. After that I kept a change of clothes in the car. I learned my lesson. The next one is titled, A Hospital IDWHL Tale. So, I've been in the hospital recently due to my lovely lady parts trying to kill me, at almost double the size it was last year, not to mention how painful it's been. You'd think they'd be a little more worried about my ovary, but whatever. I was finally getting some sleep after being poked and prodded and drugged into pain relief. I knew that my roommate was a little old lady who was almost completely deaf, and who seemed to have a bit of dementia or something. She kept asking why she was there, and asking why she couldn't leave. Suddenly, I was awoken from my sleep by a fairly loud voice saying, "Can somebody help me?" Well, as there was only 2 of us in the 4-bedroom, surely it was my roommate, right? I was lying with my back to her and the door, and moving hurt, so I just called out to her, quite blearily as I had just been asleep a few moments earlier, "What do you need?" I get the reply of, "Where's Angela?" At about this point, my brain realizes that the frail lady in the bed next to me cannot be the one speaking, as A, the voice is much too strong, and B, she heard me. I start struggling to roll over so I can see what's going on, and I see a lady standing halfway to my bed. I, of course, ask who Angela is, and get the most indignant reply of, "My daughter." No, I don't know who Angela is or where she is, lady, seriously. I, of course, managed to somehow reply more kindly than that, or at least less sassily. I think I was on morphine all night. So she then looks at me and says, "Oh, you don't work here," and walks out, leaving me gobsmacked. I'm in a hospital bed, asleep, and you think I work here? Best worst part is I got to share a room with her after her surgery. She talked all night long. Just like, "Oh, I'm so gassy," or "Ugh, I just want to sleep, won't someone make that stop beeping," when my IV machine went off, and best one, "I'm talking too much, aren't I should probably be quiet," followed by more inane chatter. Thank the gods for good battery life and headphones. I put my music on and slept like a person on morphine when I realized she wasn't going to shut up. The next one is titled, "Made the Mistake of Wearing Red." There's a fairly popular home garden store in the UK where the staff wear red. I forgot about this till today. I had to go in and buy a few bits for my new flat, minding my own business and doing the whole wear a mask social distance stuff. Walking down the pet food section and I hear a voice. "Lady, excuse me, could you help me please?" She touched my arm, so that was pretty clear she was talking to me. I was wearing red and black, so I guess she thought I worked here. I know a fair bit about pet care, so I was happy to help. "Me, what can I help you with?" "Lady, what's the serving suggestion on these dog treats?" "I can't read the packet." "Me, let's have a look." I read the packet, but it doesn't actually state the serving suggestion. "Oh, it actually doesn't say." "What breed of dog do you have?" "Lady, a boxer, but she's just a puppy." "Me, I love boxers. Personally, I'd just give her one treat a day alongside her normal meals. These treats are great for training, they can be broken up into smaller pieces. I use them a lot myself when training." "Lady, oh thank you. Do you also have those toys where you put food in them for the dogs to play with?" "Me, oh I know the ones you mean. Yes, they are right here. I had one of these for my rabbit. She destroyed everything, so we had to get her dog toys to take her aggression out of. She loved these." "Lady, oh how lovely. These look great. Thank you very much." "Me, no problem. Is there anything else I can help you with today?" "Lady, no, I think that's all, thanks. Have a good day." I left and went to pay for my things, making a swift exit before I could get stopped by anyone else. Not the typical IDWHL, but it was nice to have a nice customer instead of the typical rude buttholes. Edit, I didn't tell her I don't work there. She was so kind and a little frazzled about the products, so I was more than happy to help. I didn't want to embarrass her or make her feel bad if I said anything. I get mistaken for a shop employee a lot, which is weird because majority of the people in my town know me as one of the chefs at Gatwick. But when I am mistaken for an employee, I'm always happy to help where I can. The next one is titled, "I'm drunk and entitled enough to mess with an ex-military." This didn't happen to me, but I witnessed it firsthand and I'm not the main character of this incident. So this happened a couple of days ago when one of our fest is at full swing, Diwali, some might know. So here are the cast. Me equals you're truly angry at first and crapping after 15 minutes till now. Big B equals Big Brother, ex-military. Hob equals hotel owner's brother. HO equals hotel owner. Big B's friend. Daig equals drunk entitled guy. DG1 equals drunk guy's friend 1. DG2 equals drunk guy's friend 2. So let me tell you few things before we go to story. My Big B was in military, had serious accident, got severely injured and some other bad stuff. We don't have to go in that. He recovered, and because of that now he has PTSD, and sometimes he goes into that channel without showing any symptoms, it just triggers. Important later. So on to story. That Big B called later in evening asking me if I can join him for couple poison shot. I happily said yes. After 15 to 20 minutes we meet up and both went to our favorite place to have our shots. 3 shots in and we are ready to go. So we're returning back and Big B noticed one of his friend's hotel is open. They serve great chicken biryani and other meaty goodies there, by the way, so Big B stops there to wish him happy Diwali. Okay, no problem. He gets straight to register, meets with Hob, wishes him and asked for Ho, his friend. Hob says he is back checking some stuff. Big B decides to wait for him. Cue the Daeg and his two friends. I am not too far so I can hear everything. Daeg comes to register and asks if he and his friends can have some food inside. Hob, we are understaffed due to fest. But you can have parcels? Daeg, then he asks his friends that they can't eat here. So what should we take? DG1 grabs some kebabs. Daeg back to register and asks for kebabs and then goes back to his friends. After 10 minutes Daeg goes back to register and asks, where are his kebabs? Hob explains. It'll take another 5 minutes because they are understaffed. Daeg suddenly notices Big B and says, why is he not doing anything? Big B, what? Daeg, why the F you're not helping? I've to change the words, it was way worse. Big B, because I don't work here. Big B is in his track pants and polo shirt and most of the employees there are wearing random things cause they don't have to serve inside. Daeg makes a horrendous decision and grabs Big B by his collar and says, Daeg, I don't care if you work here or not, get my kebabs ready ASAP. Deg's friends saw this, they are just sitting and smiling like someone is about get his butt whooped, and I saw this, approached Big B and tried to intervene but Big B stopped me and asked for his friend, Ho. Hob tried again to explain this douchebag that Big B doesn't work here. But his alcohol and entitlement doesn't let him to do that. So Hob asks someone to go inside, ask Ho to the register, while this freak still holding my Big B's collar. I tried few times but this doesn't let go of his collar while using foul words. Ho comes out. As soon as Big B sees him, wishes him happy Diwali and Ho proceeds to Daeg commanding him to let go of his friend. He's Sikh and they can be very pleasant or very angry if you mess with them or their family, friends. Something clicked on Daeg's brain and lets go of Big B's collar and suddenly he turned back to me again saying foul words mixed with how dare I tried to stop him and tried to get hold on to me. Cue the PTSD. Big B just grabs Deg's right arm, turns to his back, gets him on chokehold and he can't do anything, and now I'm in horror movie. Deg's two friends came to help him but Big B doesn't let him go. It took 5 people to get Daeg out of that chokehold, and when finally Big B lets him go, he drops straight onto the ground and his friends try and get him up while Me, Ho and Hob holding Big B back. Finally Big B calms down and said this to those 3. Big B, if you can't handle alcohol, don't drink it, and if any of you next time tried to go near my brother, I'm gonna break your neck. All 3 of them left in huff. Ho asked me and Big B to get some biryani, but we declined and just left wishing him and his brother to have safe Diwali. The next one is titled, Apparently Being Tall Equals Shelf Stacker Obligated to Help. Today, I braved the wilds of Lidl to do my weekly food shop. Anyone who's been to Lidl knows the uniform. I was in an Iron Maiden t-shirt and jeans. I seem to be a magnet for people who need help in shops. I'll always help where I can, but only polite people. As a tall lady, little over 6 feet, I'm constantly asked to reach for things. I usually don't mind. Today, I was pondering the complexities of tin tomatoes when I heard an impatient ahem behind me. Assuming I was in the way, I sidestepped and apologized through my mask. I locked eyes with a woman I assume was in her late 40s, a good foot shorter than me. She proceeds to raise her eyebrows at me and go, well? Aren't you going to help me? Whilst gesturing at the top shelf, the front row had gone. She then asked if I was deaf, or just stupid. I smiled through my mask and just pushed the tray of tins back a few centimeters on the shelf and walked off. She followed me through the shop tutting, muttering something about young people and lazy staff. I heard her loudly complaining about the rude, tattooed slob of a shelf stacker at the next till over. I just turned and waved at her. She went nuclear, and the checkout staff was just like, ma'am, she doesn't work here. Do you have a points card? Petty? Yes. Deserved? Absolutely. The next one is titled, Another Stupid Happy Story. So this took place back in the early 2000s, at a warehouse music store in the mall, which really shows my age. Also, Radio Shack still sold resistors and crap. I was a tall, lanky, 6 feet 0 inches, 140 pounds pseudo-goth teenager. I was wearing my standard getup of steel-toed boots, black pants, black band shirt, and a size too big black trench coat that went almost to my ankles. I may have had a couple piercings, I don't really remember, but my point is that it was not the standard blue polo and khakis the employees wore. I was perusing the heavy metal section in the back corner, probably looking for the latest Disturbed album or something else that's aged equally poorly, when a tiny, ancient old woman, who we'll call Nan, approached me. I braced myself, as 9 times out of 10 these interactions were a call to Jesus. "Excuse me," she asked, "could you help me?" Although I assumed she wasn't looking for the latest Powerman 5000 album, I hesitantly replied, sure." She explained that her granddaughter's birthday was coming up, and she wanted the latest album by some boy band, but didn't know the name. "Oh, that's probably over in the pop section," I replied. She asked where it was, which was on the opposite side of the store, so I offered to take her over there. We started thumbing through all the bubblegum pop. "Is this it?" "No, I don't think so. Do you think she'd like this?" Holding up something like Inoffensive Unix or something. "No, I don't think she'd like that. They're not very popular." After about 5 minutes of back and forth, we finally settled on something like the Backstreet Boys or NSYNC. "Thank you so much," she said. "Do I pay you here, or?" "Oh no, ma'am, I don't work here. But I can take you to someone who can ring you up." Then the sweetest thing happened. She hooked her arm with mine, the one wearing a black trench coat post-Columbine, and generally creepy looking, and we walked up to the counter together. The cashier rang her up, and Nan made a point of patting me on the arm and telling the cashier how helpful I was. I, of course, turned the color of a Norwegian in Bermuda, but the cashier just smiled at me, and soon Nan was on her way. I didn't buy anything, broke-ass teenager, but the counter staff made a point of thanking me and waving as I left the store. I don't think I've told anyone this story before, but these days I think it illustrates the importance of not being judgmental. I could have blown her off as a dumb old woman, she could have called me a Satanist, and nothing positive would have happened. But we had a fun little moment. I just hope her granddaughter developed better taste in music. The next one is titled, IDWHL, but thanks for the staff discount anyway, so this is a happy IDWHL situation. I was at the hospital for my regular monthly specialist follow-up appointment, and as I just came from the office, I was dressed in a long-sleeved shirt, dark slacks, with my work ID on a lanyard around my neck. Got my number and dropped by the cafeteria to grab lunch. Since I come here a lot, I kinda already mentally calculated how much my lunch would cost and had the cash counted out first, so I don't hold up the queue at the cashier. Cashier was this sweet young girl with a cute smile. "Good afternoon, tap 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 tap, your total will be XX sir." "Hold up there lady. I think the total is supposed to be higher. You sure you didn't miss keying in anything?" "Nope," she says with a smile, "you must be new here. There's a staff discount." True enough, apparently I was dressed the same as the doctors working at the hospital, including lanyard, only that I didn't have a white coat on. But neither did half of the staff anyway. "I don't work here, actually. Maybe could you just charge me full price? I don't feel right getting the staff discount if I'm not actually staff." Sweet cashier girl smiles again and says it's no biggie, since she's already rung me up and there's a long line at the back. I thank her, pay my due and enjoy my discounted lunch. Later, after my appointment, I popped into the hospital convenience store to pick up a drink. Lo and behold, they rang me up with the staff discount again. And again, when I clarified that I didn't work there, they still let it go and let me have the discount. Anyway, I learned to keep a t-shirt in the car for future hospital visits. Wouldn't want to be mistaken for hospital staff or a doctor in a critical situation. The next one is titled, I do work here, but you are in the wrong shop. Nice and quick one that just happened to me this morning. So I work in the automotive repair industry. I am the service manager for a workshop, so I am front of house and the one who deals with customers. Where our workshop is located, there are a lot of other workshops in and around the area. We have big branding all over the building and inside the reception area. This morning a Karen comes in and informs me she is here to drop off a Ford Focus for repair. I check our bookings and let her know that we don't have a Ford Focus booked in for today. She responds with, "Well, aren't you shop X?" and I respond with, "No, we are shop A." Keep in mind, I am telling her this from behind a counter which has our logo in massive lettering across the front of it. She then asks me what the address of my shop is and I respond with our address, to which she gives me an address which is about 5 streets over. I let her know that she is in the wrong location and give her detailed directions on where to go. At this stage I think I've done all I can to help her and wish her a good day and go about my business. Now, any normal person I would think that is satisfactory. I have let her know exactly where to go and been polite the entire time. This is still a business after all, and maybe down the line she may want to come to us for work. However, Karen did not see it that way. She proceeds to start having a crack at me, saying she is running late and this is a massive inconvenience for her, and how dare I not be able to assist her. I try to compose myself and not look too shocked at this, and let her know that we are unable to assist with the repairs she is after. She needed an auto electrician specialist and that she has booked elsewhere. She then starts yelling at me saying that, and I quote, "How useless are you? You can't even help me? This is disgusting and disrespectful, and I will be giving you a 1-star Google review for this inconvenience." Now I get people can get embarrassed when they make mistakes, but at this stage I'm dumbfounded. She then asks to speak to the manager, which I let her know is me. She laughs and says, "No, you're not. You are delusional if you think you are the manager. You're just a little boy with no manners. I'm 25, 6 foot and 115 kilograms. I am by no means a little boy." I let her know I am the manager, and if she continues to scream at me I am going to have to ask her to leave. She then opens the workshop door, which has a big sign stating "No customers inside," and yells for the manager into the workshop itself. My technicians are looking around and one yells, "It's the guy next to you." She then, and I could not believe my eyes, spits on the workshop floor and storms out. I am now just awaiting the inevitable Google review about the whole thing. For anyone who uses Google Review for their own business, you will know how detrimental a Google review can be, and I am sure it will be a thing of beauty when she posts it. The next one is titled, "Karen gives me an anxiety attack. I used to work at my local grocery store for a while. I eventually quit because the managers were horrible and there was an abundance of Karens who lived nearby and loved to pick on me because I wasn't a local. A few days after I quit, I was doing a quick beer and snacks run before going over to a friend's house for board game night. As I was grabbing my beer, I felt somebody tap me on the shoulder. I turned around and saw one of the Karens who loved to hate me. Now this Karen was one of the worst. She lived right across the street from the grocery store and used it as her own personal pantry. Literally would show up 3 to 5 times a day and would terrorize everybody. So as you can all guess, I was overjoyed to see her. Once I turned around to face her, she started talking. But I had my earbuds in and was blasting some Jimi Hendrix, one of my favorite musicians, so I just pointed to my earbuds, shrugged, put the beer in my basket, shuffled out of her way because I was kinda blocking the aisle, and started walking over to the self-checkout area. I made it about 3 steps before Karen ripped the earbuds out of my ears and started screaming at me. I have severe social anxiety which stems from my autism, so when Karen started going off on me for being rude, I had a massive anxiety attack. When I have an attack, I shut down. It takes all of my focus to keep myself together and not fall apart. It's kind of hard to describe, but if you've ever had a panic or anxiety attack, you probably know what I'm talking about. Karen, however, seemed to take this as an insult and ramped up her attack. Apparently, she was trying to find a certain type of wine, and because she knew I worked there, she demanded my help. I have no idea why she came up to me. It was the middle of winter and I was wearing a giant coat, gloves, and a hat. A far cry from the normal uniform that grocery store employees wear. The commotion attracted a manager, who came over and instantly recognized me. He asked Karen what was wrong, and after she explained how I was rude to her by adding in some extra stuff about how I pushed her, he promptly informed her that I no longer worked there. So therefore he couldn't fire me as per her request. Karen was very surprised by this and just walked away without an apology or anything. My old manager did apologize to me and said that she's crazy, but she also spends a lot of money at the store so they can't really do anything about her. I've never gone back to the grocery store, but I do always wave when I see that Karen walking around town. The next one is titled, Clueless and Shoeless. When you have little kids, they are always outgrowing their shoes. My wife and I have 3 kids. We spent a lot of time in shoe stores and department stores. We stopped at a Gemco, now defunct, department store once after church because shoes were on sale. Getting shoes for all 3 kids at the same time took hours. I had on a dress shirt and tie, and I had been in shoes for a long time, and there were no employees helping customers, so I get why this other mum walked up to me and asked if I could help her find her shoes in a size 7.5. Sorry, I don't work here, I'm just getting shoes for my kids. Oh, she said, looking as though she might cry. And apparently not knowing what to say to my statement, she just replied, "But I only need them in a size 7.5." And the way her lip quivered, and her eyes watered up was how I decided to figure out the shoe department backroom and get some stranger a pair of brown pumps, size 7.5.